Yeah, but what you're going to see here is that Heaves has enough healing that I think that this Tianlang with this defense break is actually going to be enough damage here. And I think Heaves is in a massive advantage here. That Ragdoll is going to feed this Tianlang over and over and over again.
Yep, that's right. And you can see that he's buffing up. Stacks of Knowledge go right back up onto Bolvark. And he's trying to get a little bit of damage into the Bolvark. I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Hathor with a little bit of poke damage coming towards Vigor.
Yeah, Heaves is just going to need to land defense break from that Tianlang onto that Vigor, and it's going to be all she wrote. And again, that Vigor is almost dead now.
Yep, Bolvark drops all the knowledge on top of Vigor. Vigor in a very sensitive situation right now. Fall Panda still trying to deal more damage to this Bolvark, getting that defense break from Vigor as well.
Yeah, again, I mean, this Tianlang is just doing a lot of work. That defense break was a lot, but again, this Bolvark taking a lot of damage right now.
Yep, going for a Seal of Magic, trying to take advantage of that defense break. Bolvark still holding on, and same goes to this Vigor. Vigor is holding on himself.
Wow, and that Hathor looks exactly like mine on the ladder. Does not land, sleeps on that Veladril, so highly unfortunate. But at the same time, once this Vigor goes down, Fall Panda does not have any more heals.
Yep, Bolvark looking to strip the immunity, gaining a stack of knowledge from that Ganymede, and does not get it. And Tianlang does drop the Vigor here. We see a nice skill one coming on to Ganymede, getting that attack break.
Yeah, and again, that's a big proc there. Allows him to get buffs onto the Bolvark and heals, and allows him to establish control.
Yep, huge proc, because I think even this Veladril needs to go with the skill 3 and buffs up more knowledge for this Bolvark.
Yeah, but again, when you look at the team here, Veladril and Ragdoll do not have enough burst to take out any of Heaves' units while Heaves has that much healing. So I really think this is going to be a long battle, but at the same time, it's pretty much foregone.
Yep, that's right. I mean, you're going to see this knowledge dump once again coming from Bolvark right onto the Ganymede. We've got Hathor looking for a strip, does not get that strip, sleep onto the Ganny, and damage to continue going towards this Bolvark.
Yeah, interesting choice to down the Ganny, but I guess he figures that if the Ganny goes down, there's not much gas left in the tank for the other units. Again, not enough damage coming out from the others. He needs a double proc every time for these other units and is not getting it.
Exactly. I mean, you can't stop the knowledge. I mean, he can't stop the knowledge right now because he just doesn't have enough buffers out there. Heaves has all the sustain in the world, and he's going to be getting those stacks of knowledge with this Fran.
Yeah, and if I'm Fall Panda, I'm thinking, where did this draft go wrong? How could I do better? The next game, take your time, think about it, because SWC only comes around once a year, and you want to be able to enjoy every moment of it, even if you are losing.
That's right. Bolvark going for the Ragdoll, trying to steal that immunity, just to gain more stacks of knowledge. Obviously not trying to take advantage of the defense break, because I think Heaves has that kind of relaxation in this match. Doesn't need to go for a defense break at this point. And there you have it. Heaves is taking round 1 away from Fall Panda.
I mean, I think that was one of the freest matches I've ever seen. My opponent took a Ragdoll into my Tianlang. I mean, that clearly means that Fall Panda either misread the skills, maybe fat fingered a unit, maybe it should have been a Jaeger, or I can't explain anything else, but either way, that's why Heaves won that match. Made it look super easy.
We saw a Gianna pre-ban on a non-Gianna user, so a little bit of homework may have not been done in this case.
May not have been done, and that's why he will likely... Oh, there we go. He has done his homework now, scouted his opponent, and now knows to pre-ban the Tianlang.
And there you go. Pre-bans are out. Tianlang and Ragdoll getting pre-banned in this round 2 with Heaves and Fall Panda.
And actually, that's a pretty smart pre-ban from Heaves, knowing that now that his opponent has done his homework to take out that Ragdoll, so Tianlang is not worth as much anyways.
Yep, that is right. You can see Hathor getting first picked by Heaves. Fall Panda should be responding with a Ganymede.
Fall Panda should be taking the Ganymede, and likely a Fran here is pretty standard. Patter is also great. It's an LD unit here, provides immunity, does a lot of damage and healing, so it can't ever go wrong with a Patter.
Nope, never. These Druids do so much. They offer so many things for a battle. Heaves looking to draft the Vigor in the Fran.
So when Heaves takes the Vigor into an immunity unit, it tells me he believes in his rune quality and the anti-crit that Vigor provides just to let him cycle over and over and wear Fall Panda down. Patter is a likely ban at this moment, but we'll see what Fall Panda responds with in order for Heaves to make that decision.
Yep, and let's see what he does respond with. He should be drafting some units shortly. He's running out of time, really thinking about this match. And there is the Viva and Ciara.
Whoa, and Heaves going with another two LD units, showing that while his opponent has 2 LD units, Heaves also has 2 LD units here. I do like that Ciara Viva Chow pick from Fall Panda. That Zera 2 is a little interesting, a little suspect, but I think it's very good into a pattern here. Fall Panda rounds out his draft with that Daphnis.
Yep, very, very aggressive draft coming from Heaves. Fall Panda wrapping up his draft with a Daphnis, and Daphnis right away getting banned out, and you can see Vigor getting banned out on the side of Heaves.
Interesting case here. We're going to see Heaves with a lot of immunity. This Zera is not going to be able to do very much unless it autos a lot, but there's a lot of bursts from that Zera 2 coming.
Yep, that is right now. Speed lead for Fall Panda. We're going into round 2. Fall Panda, Heaves. Let's go. We're going to be seeing that speed lead probably taking first turn here, and it is. It's Fall Panda looking to apply a little bit of damage to that Zeratul.
So Fall Panda's moving in front, but it doesn't really do very much. Heaves is completely on will, but again, that patter is going to be able to go off because of this passive here.
Yep, Hathor looking for that skill 2 sleep onto Ganymede and not receiving it here, and the buffs are coming up on the side of Heaves.
Yeah, and at the same time here, he's just choosing to do damage. That's a very tanky Zeratul here. I don't know if Fall Panda's going to be able to get through that. He's going to need to get through that in order to win, but there's a Fran that's going to be able to pick up this Zeratul.
I'm very surprised to see how tanky this Zeratul is. Usually known to be a super high damage unit, not so tanky. And here we go. We're going to see that first skill coming out onto the CR, dealing a good amount of damage.
I mean, that is half health, more than half health of this Sierra here. That Zeratul is still there. I mean, Fall Panda's in a lot of trouble. This Sierra, one more hit and it's gone. That Hurtate's also slowly getting stronger over time.
Yep, Fenelite goes right back onto the Viva. Viva using a nice skill too to get immunity and a heal to bring back a CR just a little longer. And Hathor with a nice skill too onto the Viva.
I mean, there's just not enough damage coming out from Fall Panda's side without Sierra being able to land a bomb. If that Zeratul's able to connect with that Sierra one more time, that Sierra's probably going to go down.
And we see the transform coming out of this Pada.
I mean, that's a very big heal. It gives that Sierra just a little bit more HP from that healing. Might let him survive one hit from that Zeratul.
Yep, a little more poke damage coming to Zeratul. I still can't believe how tanky this Zeratul is. It's handling every hit so well. Bomb does get planted onto the Fran. Bomb gets detonated. Fran gets stunned up.
Barely did any damage to that Fran here. I don't even know if this Sierra has 6 runes at the moment. It's taking a lot of damage and doesn't do a lot of damage here. I mean, this Zeratul is going to take care of Sierra right now.
Yep, very much so. Zeratul dropping that Sierra in extremely aggressive draft coming out of Heaves, removing a big damage threat on Fall Panda's side of the field.
Again, this is for the classic case of 4 units versus 3. Generally favors the player with 4 units, but again, actually, this Hurtate might be going down soon.
Yep, Hurtate might be going down soon. Oh, but we get the additional turn coming out of the Fran, saving that air tip.
Hurtate was about to go down, but Fran said no, so again, it's 4 units versus 3, and this Zeratul is just going to town here.
Yeah, let's see the damage coming out of Zeratul, dealing a lot of damage. It is not only tanky, but it can deal the damage as well. Glancing does get applied to the Hathor. Hathor looking for the attack break and a little bit of poke damage onto that Pada.
And Heaves is able to get more healing from that Fran, able to stabilize here. Heaves is able to kick back and relax because he knows that this game is over.
Yep, it really is. Hirtet doing away with the Patter. Patter is no longer with us. Heaves 2-0s Fall Panda.
I mean, what a match there. I mean, we got to see which LDs were better, I guess. And we saw that Zeratul quite powerful on Hurtate. We've never seen that in SWC. There's just so much pressure being applied from Heaves, from that Zeratul, able to support it, that Hurtate was able to win overtime anyways. And he didn't really need it, but it would have come into play later.
I'm so happy we got to see a Zeratul. Zeratul it turned out to be an incredible pick for him. Like, we know it for a damage dealer, but we did not realize how tanky that unit was. Dagon, we saw some new LDs that we haven't seen before.
Right? That was crazy. I want to go back to just the fact that Fall Panda and the Gianna ban, like, that was kind of confusing, and at times, you know, as you guys said, SWC 2020 comes once a year. SWC comes once a year, and that was something that we know that Heaves doesn't play at all in the Canadian. The newcomer, the rising newcomer, was able to take our first 2-0 of the day. That's kind of crazy, isn't it?
I mean, not crazy when my opponent takes a ragdoll into my Tianlang. When you look at it that way, I would say it's not crazy. And also when my opponent hasn't done my homework, taking the Gianna, you know, when your opponent doesn't have a Gianna. So, but respect for Heaves. That was a great, well-drafted match, well played. Fall Panda taking just some interesting drafts there. Just because an LD unit is shiny, it's new, it's fun to play with, does not mean it's right for the situation. The Viva Chow, as you saw, did not do very much in those matches. Too much damage and threat from Heaves' side, just won in the game quite easily.
Yep, and Zeratul ended up being that shiny, new, beautiful LD Nat 5 that he said it is right for the situation. And I don't think any of us would have expected that.
Yeah, definitely. And just a lot to unpack from that game. But the bracket's ready to go because this tournament is rolling on. And it's all because Heaves is going to be in that semifinal matchup. But we got one more to go. Guys, it's the big one. It's here. Thompson, finalist from Worlds, the best player in North America, in the Americas region and North America, last year taking on Faint Memory. The young guy that has no lack of confidence. How do you feel about this matchup, bud?
I mean, both of them are friends of mine, and I would like to say that you have to go with last year's defending champ right, of the America's Cup. He is last year's
Absolutely.
runner-up, number 2 in the world last year. So I have to say that he is the favorite. However, I do think it's very close. Faint Memory is very innovative with his picks, with his bans, with his plays. You're going to see some very interesting monsters from him. He uses his artifacts very well. He's going to have every single advantage he can get without having an LD monster.
Yeah, and he's very proud of that fact. On the flip side, Thompson, no stranger to the place, but just in case, let's chat about him a little bit.
No stranger here by any means. Thompson going into this match, he's got a lot to offer. I think everybody knows what to look out for when playing Thompson. I think if Thompson had to say at least one of the matches that he did not want to run into, it's a Faint Memory match.
Yep, well, the match is ready to go. This is the final one of the quarterfinals to book their ticket in the semifinals of the day 1 preliminaries. Nothing left to do except get into the game. Stoic, take us away.
Here we go, guys. We're wrapping up the semifinals. We've got Faint Mem, we've got Thompson, and this is going to be the most exciting match that everyone has been waiting for. Let's get into it.
I can't wait here. I mean, this is something that I know both players have been prepping for. I know that they fight each other on the ladder a lot. Both are very confident that they're going to win here. And so it'll be very interesting to see how both of them approach it. Now, actually, what's going to tell me the most is what Faint Memory decides to pre-ban, because Thompson has a lot of LD Nat 5, some Artemil, Nephthys, Han, Celia, Gianna. You can think about the most busted monsters in the game. Thompson has half of them. So which ones does Faint Memory decide to take out? It's going to tell you about the pace of the battle that he wants to fight.
Exactly. So pre-bans, guys, are going out. We could be seeing anything getting pre-banned by Faint Memory. But ultimately, we're going to see what Thompson does not want to see on the other side of the field, and it's not going to be an LD Nat 5 in the form of Hathor. Hathor is getting pre-banned by Thompson.
And Faint Memory makes sense taking out that Gianna. Gianna, one of the strongest units in the game. Thompson's being incredibly well ruined. And of course, Thompson taking out Hathor because he doesn't really want to play against a unit that has so much volatility and control in the matchup.
Exactly. So I think this first pick from Thompson, oh, that's definitely not going to be Thompson's first pick. That's a shout out to a couple of his friends, everybody who has a Manananan themselves out there, that it's out here in SWC. But Thompson's going to be taking a unit away from Faint Memory, and it is going to be the Ciara.
And so Faint Memory does not have a Manananan of himself or an LD Nat 5 to flash back. Thompson with the Ciara first pick, generally not very conventional, and is very weak to Daphnis, which Faint Memory might be taking later. We know he has a great one here. Ciara is stronger with artifacts, so it's an alright first pick, but it does open himself up to a lot of things that Faint Memory can throw his way in terms of Beast Riders, Daphnises, and other fast units.
Yep, so Thompson with that CR first pick. Faint Memory with the Fran and Ganymede. Not a bad start for both these two. You really can't decide who's got the better one yet. And here we go. Thompson bringing in Barbara Daphnis.
I really like this from Thompson. Very aggressive draft here. Thompson, usually you would expect some sort of CC control here, but at the same time, this is damage straight to the face here. Barbara and Daphnis are going to be very fast. Either can threaten kills off the bat, and then Ciara with a lot of bombs. So Faint Memory needs to respond with some sort of damage. And again, you see that Vanessa because he knows he needs a speed lead to be able to contest with these units, so that when he locks in his last pick, he's not gridlocked.
Ooh, and we see a Leica coming out of Faint Memory. I'm surprised to see a Leica being drafted by him.
I am very surprised as well. This tells me his preliminary ban is going to be on the Barbara here, if he's going to be doing that, because Barbara does take care of Leica very well. But at the same time, Leica only takes about 30% per hit, right, on his passive. So Leica, I know Faint Memory likes to run very aggressive units. This is going to be a very hard-hitting Leica.
Yep, it is. Thompson looking at a Vigor right now. And I was going to say, there's no way we're not going to see an LD Nat 5 coming out of him. He brings in the Nephthys.
So Thompson is telling us that he's likely going to be taking out the Fran, and Faint Memory responding with a Blution. What we call a Blution is a blue Lucian. It does bombs, and this is a newly buffed Water Joker.
This is an exciting first match between Thompson and Faint Memory. Bans are going out, and Thompson doesn't want to see that surprise unit. If he catches him off guard, it's probably going to get banned.
Thompson not wanting to deal with the Sion here, but we're going to see Daphnis go on to this Vanessa. We'll see if Faint Memory's Vanessa survives this Daphnis, and that's going to tell us a lot.
That is right, and here we go, guys. We've got round one with Faint Memory and Thompson. Let's get into it.
That's a very fast Daphnis. Moves in front of the Ganymede, which I know is very fast. He's going to open with Hellfire on the Vanessa.
Yep, Hellfire is coming out onto Vanessa with a defense break, not finishing off that Vanessa. That is a very tanky Vanessa.
Super tanky Vanessa, and Faint Memory is able to get immunity up from the Fran here. So if he's able to stabilize, he's going to be in a good spot. Leica's going to take out Daphnis next, by the way, as well.
Yep, you can see the Ventilate going back onto Fran. Want to make sure that he has his immunity and attack buffs up to protect him from that Curse the Beautiful that is currently sitting on top of this Nephthys.
And I know that this Vigor's rune on CD, so we're likely going to see a trade Daphnis for a Vigor here. Vigor chooses not to skill 3 on the Vanessa. Very weird choice.
Ooh, but Ciara able to pummel in a little bit of damage on top of that defense broken Vanessa. Vanessa able to shake the defense break, gaining an additional turn here. Big Justice coming out of the attack buffed Leica, aiming up for Ciara and dropping Ciara with a Justice.
Huge move there, and actually great choice by Faint Memory not to take the Daphnis out because skill 3 is already blown. Does trade that Vanessa at the end of the day here, but that's giant damage from the Leica.
It is huge damage coming from that Leica. I think the next unit of focus might be Vigor going after this Leica. Leica able to heal itself up.
Yeah, and we're going to see here that Vigor is going to need to do damage onto this Leica. It's going to depend on how much HP this Leica is going to get back.
And Fran looking to sustain that Leica, get a nice heal going on here.
Yeah, and we see here that
choosing to go for the attack break onto the Daphnis instead.
Yeah, and again, this is I kind of like Faint Memory's side here. If Thompson is not able to string together enough damage, this could be tough to come back from.
And Nephthys with the silent and attack break on top of Ganymede gets the additional turn as well with a little bit of poke damage coming towards this Leica. Is that going to be enough damage to finish off Leica? Not by any means. Massive first skill damage on top of Daphnis.
That's a lot of damage coming out onto that Daphnis, and that Leica again is at full health here.
Yep, and there you have it. Fate and Memory taking a controlling lead in this first match.
And this Leica just needs to down Nephthys next because Ganny and Fran take care of Vigor. So once Faint Memory downs the Nephthys, he will be up 0-1.
Yep, that is correct. You see a skill 2 coming out of Vigor, trying to get a little bit of anti-crit sustain going on here. Going to see a first skill silence happening on top of this Ganymede. It's just not going to be enough.
Definitely not going to be enough, and he's also got a glancing on him, so he's not going to be even do enough damage to this Leica here. This Vigor really has not done much the entire game.
It really has, and going for a third skill gets the additional turn as well. I don't know, it is not going to be enough to drop this Leica. Nice additional turn coming from Fran.
Yeah, even with the proc from the Vigor does not do enough to take out that Leica. That Leica with that skill 2 is going to pop the Nephthys, and it's going to be over.
Ooh, Ganymede with a little bit of poke damage on that Vigor gets the additional turn as well for the reset on top of Vigor as well. Dumping attack bars onto that Nephthys. Massive Justice damage comes out, finishes off that Vigor just like that.
Just like that, that Vigor goes down. Thompson's got 1 unit to 3. It is over. Thompson should be taking his time as the seasoned veteran to take his time and figure out what he should do the next match.
And Thompson does. He does this in every SWC. You see him take all the time that he can. He really likes to drown that bar out. Didn't do it that time, but he really likes to take his time to go into the next match. Fate Memory taking round 1 away from Thompson.
What a match there. I think the key there was Vanessa being so tanky that not only did it survive that Hellfire, but was able to survive Hellfire and a couple of shots afterwards.
Well, another key unit was Leica. Leica with massive Justice damage, even on that first turn, choosing not to just obliterate a Daphnis, but to obliterate another unit.
All right, well, we'll see how Thompson adjusts. We know that Faint Memory cannot pre-ban the Gianna, so that's something Thompson will have. And I actually anticipate in this matchup, Faint Memory is going to go for a more speedy lineup here because Thompson's Gianna is well known to be unviolent, and that's generally how it gets exploited. Thompson knows that too and does have speed units in the back pocket. We'll see how this tug of war works.
Yep, there's Daphnis getting pre-banned by Thompson. Nephthys getting pre-banned by Fran.
Very smart pre-bans for Faint Memory. I think Nephthys and Gianna are the 2 units that are scary from Thompson's side because Thompson does use a lot of AoE strip. Thompson taking out Daphnis knowing that Faint Memory has invested a lot of runes in it and it is very threatening in the draft.
Yep, there you go. Faint Memory with the first pick of the Hathor. Obviously splitting these units. You don't want to see them on one side. So Hathor getting drafted by Faint Memory. We're probably going to be seeing a Ganymede being drafted by Thompson.
I think it's going to be a Sierra Ganymede. Thompson really likes that Sierra Gianna combo. We saw him first pick a Sierra last time, and he can't let Faint Memory take that Ganny Hathor combo. So it's going to be a Sierra Ganny, and we're going to see Faint Memory probably respond with some sort of, oh, interesting.
Ooh, very interesting. I like seeing the change here. So the Ganny Chibu coming up for Thompson. Faint Memory very quick to snag that Sierra away from him.
Yeah, and I know Faint Memory has a very good Sierra here, so Sierra, and I know his Sierras do a lot of damage on his skill 1, so Faint Memory is bringing a lot of damage. I like the aggression with the Barber here. He has the ability to go with an Okeanos and another speed lead later, so I think that she was a little premature from Thompson going into a Hathor in a tournament here.
It could be. Maybe even that Barber was wanted to be drafted by the Thompson as well. Let's see how he responds after seeing Ciara Barbara, and we're looking at a light Monkey King Gianna.
Interesting choice. We know from watching Thompson's stream, this is generally a very fast Light Monkey, but we know Faint Memory has a lot of wheel runes, so I'm not sure about the Light Monkey. Gianna makes a lot of sense. It's good in pretty much every situation. Faint Memory wastes no time with the Wind Mermaid and the Fran.
Yep, Cichlid Fran coming out of Faint Memory. I love seeing these new units. I think the buff to Cichlid was absolutely amazing. Great third skill, and I'm looking forward to see it work out for him.
This to me signals likely a Chi-Wu pre-ban, or ban here, but Thompson recognizes this and takes the Vanessa. Because Faint Memory wants to outspeed because that Cichlid is usually on Swift. So in this situation here, Faint Memory is likely going to be outsped, so he's not going to take out either speed lead. He's looking to take out probably the Ganny, or either Ganny or one of the two units in the middle. And that's likely the situation here. Or if he trusts the speed, if his Barbara Swift, he can also take out the Chi-Wu.
And there you have it. So Light Monkey King is going to get banned on Thompson's side of the field. Ciara is getting banned on Faint Memory's side of the field. Very exciting match. Great drafts by both these two. Speed lead for Thompson. Resistance lead for Faint Memory. Here we go, guys. We're getting into round 2 with Faint Memory Thompson. Can Faint Memory 2-0 Thompson?
I think the draft favors Thompson a little bit, but we'll see. It depends on the speeds here.
Well, here we go. Chi-Wu with the third skill, going for a strip attack bar pushback, and does receive it as well. Ganymede looking for the reset and attack bar dump.
He's going to need to reset the Hathor. There's no choice about that. Does not resist any attack bar dumps. Gianna's going to drop a bomb, and then Vanessa's going to do a lot of damage, but at the same time, Faint Memory has a lot of heals and has a great turn 2 comp.
And bomb does land on top of the Fran, psyching a little bit of attack bar with that first skill. Vanessa possibly looking for a defense break to capitalize on top of that Fran as well. And we do see it, and the additional turn as well to pummel more damage into this Fran.
That's a giant proc because that means that Thompson's going to have enough damage to kill the Fran before it throws immunity up. Without that proc, it might have been very different. So while Faint Memory had a better turn 2 draft, that proc changed everything.
Yep, Thompson was able to capitalize off that defense break, removing it from the field. And we see Ganymede's going to be up here looking for a glancing on top of Barbara and receives it. We may be seeing a third skill coming out of Cichlid.
I mean, that's also a big glancing because Barbara's not going to be able to pump out as much damage here.
Ooh, does land the cooldowns as well, and that defense break on the fire unit, Vanessa.
But again, is not able to crit on that Vanessa because of that glancing. I think Faint Memory's in a lot of trouble here. Another bomb goes up on the Barbara, and that Barbara, there's no healing on Faint Memory's side.
And that's right, with the change of Beast Riders, that bomb does stun. It's going to be stunned inside its regular form off of the Rider, off the Beast.
Yeah, that Beast Rider's not going to be doing much more damage this game. This looks pretty done. Once that Vanessa got that proc and that Fran was unable to help him stabilize, that was pretty much over.
Yep, there's the Ventilate back onto Vanessa. It's a knife safe play that needed to happen from Thompson, and we're going to see some strip damage coming out from Faint Memory. Doesn't drop the Vanessa just yet. Hathor looking for that poke damage and drops out that Vanessa.
Yeah, and at this point, Faint Memory does need to resist.
Huge bomb resist on top of Barbara. Looking for the strip stun on Barbara and receives it. First skill to knock it off the Beast.
And we do see that proc from that Gianna, so bombs are up again. And then that Barbara is stunned. It's going to need a proc to be able to do damage. But I really like Thompson's side here. He's got more damage from the Ganymede. And so he's in advantage here.
Yep, he definitely is. He's able to get that glancing back on the Barbara, so that unit's not going to be doing enough damage. And we see a bomb does land on top of Hathor. Gets the additional turn as well. Does not finish off the Barbara just yet. Sweet Dreams coming out and putting that Ganymede to sleep.
Yeah, and again, Faint Memory's down 2 units to 3 here, and Thompson's side is all on full health here. Cichlid is on Swift, so it might not be able to do enough here.
Yep, there's that third skill. Does get that reset defense break on top of Gianna. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but he has to be able to take advantage of that defense break. And we see the bomb does detonate. Hathor does stay alive, and that is going to be it. Faint Memory concedes. Thompson takes round 2.
What a match there. I thought actually, looking at it for a moment, I thought Faint Memory had the better turn 2-ish team. Once that Fran stabilizes, Faint Memory's going to tee off. But unfortunately for Faint Memory, fortunately for Thompson, that Fran got procced on by Vanessa, and that was enough damage to push it down to 0 and out of the game.
That was definitely the turn tides right there, is when that Fran was able to drop so quick in that match. Thompson, victor, round 2. We're going into a game 3 with an extremely exciting match. Thompson, Faint Memory.
And we're going to see the same pre-ban from Faint Memory. He's going to take out that Gianna early. We're going to see if Thompson adjusts. We know in match 1, he took Ciara first, and I think that was a little bit of a liability, but we'll see if he sticks to that game plan.
Yep, there's the Daphnis and the Nephthys getting pre-banned from the last match. I think we're going to see a similar ban to that first match going into this one here.
Yep, does take out that Hathor. Faint Memory does take out that Gianna. So we'll see if Thompson decides to favor the Sierra again, or if Thompson's going to decide that perhaps a Ganymede works a little bit better here.
Yep, first pick for Thompson. Does he choose to steal unit away from Faint Memory? Goes with that CR pick.
Sierra's fine as well. I mean, Faint Memory has a very good Sierra. Chose not to go after Ganymede and actually took the Fran and Daphnis, which makes a lot of sense because Ganymede does not do anything into those two units if they're on will.
Yep, Faint Memory, Fran, Daphnis, Thompson looking to respond.
And I would be very surprised not to see a Barbara laid down. I think Barbara's a pick here. I would like to see an Okeanos, but I know that Thompson does not like Okeanos.
You called it. There's the Barbara. There is the Chiwu. Great combination. We see it a lot together. Faint Memory responding with a speed lead, Vanessa.
And if I'm Faint Memory, I see two speed leads from my opponent's side here. I'm looking to A, threaten the speed, B, looking out to take out that middle unit, that Barbara. And potentially draft for a second turn 2 team here. Faint Memory responding with the speed lead and Citrullid, so the speed of this draft is still up in the air.
Yep, I love seeing Citrullid back, and not back in SWC, but in SWC. This is the first time we've seen a Citrullid being drafted since the buff.
I mean, this is a 4-star Wind Mermaid. We have never really seen one here, so very exciting to see that. Thompson responding with the Vertihile Vigor.
Yep, Vertihile Vigor. It's a very fast team coming from Thompson. A lot of attack bars going to be gained if that Vertihile does make it through. Faint Mem looking to respond with this last pick, showing a Beast Rider himself. He drafts in a Savannah.
Yeah, interesting choice here with Thompson go with the Vigor, already knowing that Citrus on the field. Citrus pretty good against Vigor, so generally you don't want to take a unit where you already have a stronger unit on your opponent's side into it. Faint Memory responding with the Savannah, telling us that once he gets this, he might not even need to ban this Chiwu. Once that Savannah goes online, it's going to be a lot of damage.
Well, this is an extremely important match. They really had to think about their bans, and there you have it. Chiwu getting banned on Thompson's side of the field. Vanessa getting banned on Faint Memory's side of the field. Speed leads for both teams, but it looks like Thompson's got the quicker lead. We're going into round 3 with Faint Memory Thompson to wrap up our semifinals. Here we go, guys.
And Citrullid takes first turn. We know it's a very fast Citrullid, so it's going to be able to get onto the Barbara.
But no defense break.
No defense break, but I think that's okay because he has Savannah next. So Barbara can't really do very much at the moment.
Yep, just a little bit of poke damage going down to Daphnis. Daphnis missing the defense break strip onto the Ciara. Ciara is still going to remain on the field.
That's a giant miss because if he was able to eliminate Sierra, that's one less unit to deal with, and we know Sierra's very well ruined from Thompson.
Ooh, Predator's Cry coming out, healing up that Ciara, getting the anti-crit speed buff out there, looking for a defense break onto that Daphnis, and does receive it.
I mean, that's a very big turn of events. Not only does he buff his team with speed buff, also procs into skill 3. Highly lucky by Thompson here.
Yep, does plant the bomb, detonates that bomb right away onto the Daphnis, removing that unit from the field, putting Faint Memory at a 1-unit deficit.
Interesting choice to get rid of the Daphnis. I would have thought about the Citrullid just because Daphnis has already blown skill 3. Either way, though, taking out a unit is always okay.
Yep, Fran buffing up, getting sustained, getting those attack buffs on his team, looking to pummel in some massive damage, possibly onto Ciara. No, goes right for that Barbara.
Yeah, at this point here, Faint Memory just needs to take out that Barbara, take out the ability to strip because he does not want to be stripped later and open up a hole for that Sierra to go on.
Yep, that's right. Thompson trying to remove this Savannah from the field, trying to get it off of that beast as soon as possible.
Yeah, but all these units are going to move in front of Savannah here. So Savannah's going to turn into that, get off the Beast Rider. It's not going to be able to use skill 3 soon, and that's why he had to use Air Shield. But again, that's
ooh, he's able to break the shield with the Barbara, gets the additional turn, knocks that Savannah right off the beast, and we're going to see a skill 2 coming out for Thompson to get his speed buffs up and a little bit of sustain.
Yeah, at this point here, Thompson just autos it down. The artifacts add a lot of damage onto Vertihile and Ciara, so this is pretty much it for Faint Memory on this one.
It really is. It's heavily favoring Thompson right now. Does land that bomb. Fran's able to cleanse that thing up. Faint Memory needs anything he can get his hands onto. More additional turns is what Faint Memory is asking for right now. More additional turns.
I don't know if Faint Memory could even win if all of a sudden every unit could proc.
And there it is. Faint Memory is going to concede. Thompson is going to be taking round 3 and moving forward in the semifinals.
What a match there. We saw Citrullid a lot, but unfortunately it wasn't able to win the match there. And what actually happened there was that Daphnis missed on that Sierra.
Yep.
Had that Daphnis connected, that would have been a different story. And also that Vigor was able to proc and then go into boost the team and then go into a skill 3 and do damage onto the Daphnis, which is pretty lucky by Thompson, pretty huge. Degon, what do you think?
Dude, just right off the top there, when you're looking at the Game 1 draft, you touched on it, the Sierra first, that's what Thompson's been doing all season. That was his most picked unit. So I think it was great preparation by Faint Memory, who had something ready. Plus, the Water Joker coming out, it kind of threw Thompson off, so you knew it was going to draw that ban, which then led to the Leica popping off. That was exciting to see Leica just go one after the other. What were your thoughts of that first game, right?
I mean, I thought Faint Memory rode the line of aggression and then healing his team back very well. That Leica was almost dead several times, but was just tanky enough to survive and just so much damage. Popped off that Sierra with no defense break off the bat.
Yep, Leica's a personal favorite unit of mine. My number one unit in my first, my second Nat 5 ever pulled. I loved Leica in that draft. It really worked out for him, and it showed. Massive justice damage, especially attack buff, and he was able to move off of a unit where he could have removed adapters from the field. He removes the other unit from the field. Faint Memory cleanly won that match.
Right, yeah. Faint Memory took game one, but Thompson showing the championship caliber that he holds to come back and win 2-1, and he will book his ticket into the semifinals, and he'll be going up against that young upstart in Heaves. The Canadian will be the final block against Thompson for their shot at America's Cup. And again, double elimination, which means any player that has lost so far will have another opportunity to get their crack at it next weekend. All right, the quarterfinals are done. Semifinals are locked in, but we're going to take a short break. But we do have a little bit of a code here for you. Pop that one right in there. Come on in, summon. So come on, summon, and you get yourself 100 energy and 50 summoning stones. Come on, summon, right? That's how you guys say that? That's how you'd say that? It has nothing to do with sailors. That's exactly how Stoic would say it. All right, plug that one in. You get yourself your bonus. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have the semifinals, and we'll see which two players will be booking their ticket to America's Cup. We'll see you in a bit. Daniel Egon Gonzalez.
Viewer, insight, scoop, analysis, and discussion.
No, right now? Okay, all right.
Hey, Degon. Hey, how's it going, guys? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah. All right.
You definitely grinded. You definitely put your work in the past few years. Can you kind of tell us about what you've been involved in?
Yeah, I started shoutcasting in 2013. I first found esports in college in 2010, and from that I was hooked. I was like, hey, storytelling's there, competition's there. I was watching Stoic and Make It a Bud both bring the hype of the play happening. It was almost like play by play. They did a great job saying, hey, look, this team, this player wants to do this. Let's find out how that happens. And that, to me, I think is fantastic. So what I hope to do is to be able to take that and turn that into other terms that people are familiar with, so that a wider audience can also appreciate the depth of complexity that a lot of these players are going through, as well as being able to welcome newer players and newer curious members that want to see, hey, what this is all about. If I'm able to do that, then I feel like I did a good job. Whoa, all right. This is a full green screen setup. We're gonna definitely cover that right here. Let's take a peek. But I can't do it alone. Let's see what guys we got here. Who do we got? Oh, there's one.
Oh, hello.
Hey, Chris, what's up? It's Make It a Bud. Oh, and look at Curtis. Stoic's here too. Hey guys, how's it going? You know what? I'm super excited to be working with you guys because I got to watch you last year during the whole process, getting to see you in that beautiful arena and then over in Paris. And I very much enjoyed your breakdown and your analysis. It was very, very fun to watch you set expectations of what these insanely talented players were doing and then break down the action as it was going through. I'm just super excited to get to do this with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably one of my favorite parts of it, just being able to take a really complex game, break it down so that more players can understand what's going on, because these players are the top in the world. There's a lot that goes into it. So being able to simplify that and bring it to life is something that was incredibly rewarding, and I'm happy to be able to do that again.
Stoic, what was one of your favorite moments from last year's tournament?
Ooh, easily America's Cup, the final match. It's exciting seeing both those two players going at it. Knowing both those two players very, very well, especially in this game. And
What do you want to get out of this year's show, like personally, right? Obviously, we want to see great matches, but what do you want to see out of your growth in SWC 2020, the performance?
That's a deep question, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're here.
What I want to get, kind of just an extension of last year, where just being able to bring this experience to a lot of players, whether they're new or existing, and show them again a more entertaining way of how this game can be fun, how it can be strategic. And I think given that Artifacts, a huge part of the game was released, it's shifted a lot. So you're going to see a lot more possibilities and a lot more of what could be possible. And I think just being able to share that passion for the game, as well as just the intricacies that are there, I think would be great.
Curtis, last year was both of your first years doing the broadcast. What was something that you thought was going to be difficult going into it, and then you found out, oh, actually, this is pretty good. I can't wait to do it again next year?
I don't think I found anything very difficult. More excited. Like, I couldn't wait to do this again. Like, even after last year had ended, I was just like, how do we fast forward to next year's tournament already? It was too much fun. It really was. Way too much fun. What I get out of SWC is the ability to tell the story and the story of the matches. And I like to think of it almost like a radio show. You're going up there, and like, even though people may not be watching, but I want to get people in their seats and I want to get people engaged. So I think it's important to project my thoughts on how the match is going, but in the most colorful, entertaining way possible.
Yeah, this is the fascinating thing to me, building this show and building this broadcast together. You guys as an established duo already, and then throwing me in there to set you guys up the best that I can, because you're the wealth of information. You are the trusted voices of the competitive side of things, and that's all I want to help try to do for you guys. So any of your tips and tricks that you had last year and anything I can do to help out, I'm super excited to get on into it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the SWC 2020 America's Cup Preliminaries, day number 1. I'm Daniel Digon Gonzalez, bringing you the action that was the quarterfinals. Again, not alone, experts on the desk. It's like they haven't even skipped a beat. It's Stoic and Make It a Bud. Guys, that was one heck of a first opening couple of matches, wasn't it?
I mean, that was incredible. We got to see Blue Lucian, unfortunately, it was banned. We got to see a lot of RNG. We got to see a lot of back and forths, lots of swingy matches, and here we are.
Yep, a lot of upsets, a lot of extremely great plays, and a lot of misplays as well. It's always exciting to see those kind of things.
Only misplays because you guys on the desk are the experts and, of course, would never make those same mistakes, right?
No, come on now.
Not that type of a mistake. Not that type of mistake. But generally, we've seen some great plays. I mean, Faint Memory Thompson came down to RNG, right? The procs doing a lot of damage. Faint Memory having to ride that line between dying Fran or not very closely and took a proc to kill it.
Right. And imagine what it would have been like if Thompson would have lost in that first round. Well, you don't actually have to because we've got the overview for you right here. Not here, but there. Bam! It is a double elimination bracket here for the preliminaries. It was the top 16 players selected from World Arena Season 12 and 13. After it's 8 today, it'll be 8 tomorrow. And the top 4, or the top 2 from each day will qualify to the America's Cup. The final 8 will battle it out next week to join them. And of course, they will be playing for those coveted 2 slots at the World Championships. The prize pool right there, you can see 20,000 if you're the champion of the America's Cup, and 210,000. There's extra 10,000 there for you if you win the World Finals. Man, so what a tournament it has been so far. Tree and Raigeki will be our first match. Heaves and Thompson. He's kind of the surprise there, isn't it, guys? Like, we thought that Fall Panda with his experience would be okay, but Heaves showed up here and had our only 2-0 of the day.
And especially Fall Panda with all those LDs. But once Fall Panda took that ragdoll into Tianlang, we knew how that matchup was going to go.
All right, let's take a look at this top side of the bracket matchup. It's Raigeki and Tree. Tree, not as easy as we thought it would be as he walked through Thompson. It was a 2-1, but was able to get the job done. Raigeki, that was a slobber knocker against Topa V. It was a battle of attrition. Both these guys deserve their spot here, don't they, Stoic?
Yep, they definitely do. And I think Raigeki had a feeling he was going to be playing Tree up here, and he's definitely prepared for it. I know Raigeki's definitely prepared for Tree.
Yeah, and I know Raigeki will be over-preparing in his head, will be kind of panicking a little bit, but he's got a very solid lineup between that Daphnis, that Fran, that Oberon. But of course, Tree very prepared. I mean, Tree has these LDs, he has that Artemil, that Nephthys, does use Chiwu a lot, balances control with Gani Hathor very well. So it's going to be a battle, a war of attrition between these two players in terms of how they want to take these units.
You can see the highlights here from their first several matchups. Tree was able to tackle it and take care of business here. Interesting, in both of these series, they both had Gani Hathor type wins that took care of business.
Yeah, and it's interesting here that, you know, C. Thomas was actually able to take a win once the Sierra procced a lot, but of course Tree was able to put down C. Thomas's team once he got that defense break and locked down a unit.
Yeah, this was that first match there with Raigeki and Topa V. Raigeki really taking it to Topa V in this one here. And Topa V finally getting his bread and butter. Right there it is, the Gani Hathor combination with Yanhong Okeanos. And this is what Topa V needed.
Yeah, and that's where we got to see the Okeanos really play a huge factor in this series.
Yeah, and even though that Okeanos did not stun, it was still a lot of damage. And of course, once Raigeki stabilized with that Fran, it was game over in that one.
All right, well, there you have it. A little bit of the highlights from both of those players' matchups. And we're getting very, very close for this pick and ban. Again, Tree, the veteran, this should be the expected win here for him. Isn't it, guys?
I would say if I was a betting man, yes. But at the same time, anything can happen. It is RTA.
That is correct. Anything can happen. We all know what RNG is, and it is a cruel mistress. So we're going into this match, guys. Let's go.
It's going to come down to procs here, but I think if I was Raigeki, he does have first pick. There's going to be a balance between, does he want that Hathor first? Does he think he's going to get that Hathor? And does he just want to take an LD unit out of Tree side?
Yeah, we'll see. There's the Nephthys getting pre-banned by Raigeki. Ganymede getting pre-banned by Tree.
So this tells me that Tree is very content to let Raigeki take that Hathor first pick. Raigeki is likely going to take that Hathor. You're going to see an Ileana or some sort of a Fran from Tree side.
Ooh, Fran coming from Raigeki. I think he's done his homework on Tree, but Tree responding with the Hathor himself and the Molly.
Interesting choice to take the Molly so early. I would really be surprised if Raigeki did not take a Sierra here. So he does take that Sierra as predicted, and Oberon, damage off the bat, does not care about the glancing from Molly.
Yep, that's right. Well, Raigeki is hoping to pummel through Tree's defenses, as Tree's going to be drafting a Chiwu, maybe a Beast Rider coming after him.
I don't think we're going to see... Oh, we do see a Beast Rider. Okay. We were not expecting that. I would like to see Raigeki take an Okeanos here, and I would almost be surprised. I would be surprised if we did not see an Okeanos. Right now, it looks like Chiwu is the tentative ban just because it puts Tree's comp into a commanding position, where if he's able to go off, there's that Hathor, there's that Savannah that's able to go off.
Yep, we've got two more picks coming from Raigeki, showing the Juno right now, and one more unit, a Mi Ying. Raigeki showing he's got LD Nat 5s as well. We see a Mi Ying.
Mi Ying tells me he is not taking out the Molly here. Raigeki is also likely not going to, actually probably pretty content to ban out that 5th unit, but if he does so, he's going to lose that Oberon early. So we'll see what he goes with, but I really like that Juno pick here. Juno pick very solid into whatever Tree's presenting, because Tree cannot do enough burst damage onto Juno.
Yep, well, Raigeki has a very aggressive draft. Tree responding with Ada. I don't know if that's going to be enough. There's defense breaks, there's ignore defense here, there's bombs. There's a lot of things prepared for this Ada.
Yeah, and if he's taking the Arda here, he's telling us he's either banning Mi Ying or planning to control it for the entire match, which I'm not sure if that's possible to control this Mi Ying, given the fact that there's a Fran here. Chooses not to, takes out the Oberon instead.
Yeah, Oberon getting banned out here, and then we have Chiwu getting banned on Tree's side of the field. Well, all right, guys, we're going in. We've got round 1 with Tree and Raigeki. Let's get into it.
All right, so we see that Raigeki's Fran's actually outspeeding Tree's entire team here.
Yep, outspeeding for sure. Savannah looking to pummel in some damage on the Ciara as a unit of choice.
And at the same time here, this Mi Ying resists that sleep, which is giant here.
Huge resist, but Ciara's looking to plant a bomb. Nobody has immunity. Bomb gets resisted on top of Savannah, cycling a little bit of attack bar, gaining another additional turn, cycling more attack bar, and Ada pummeling a lot of damage in on top of Ciara.
And again, Tree doesn't have a defense breaker coming up soon. You see that Sierra's moving in front of that Savannah, so at the same time, Raigeki's gonna be able to pick this Sierra up. There's a lot of damage that Mi Ying's gonna be able to pump out.
Great Despair Stun on top of that Mi Ying. Once again, a defense break being resisted by the Savannah, but a Despair Stun coming out from the Juno. Bomb is getting planted on top of Savannah. I don't think he has to detonate this because the Molly's second skill's already been used.
Yeah, and actually this Sierra is almost down here, but Fran's able to pick it up, but it's under a lot of pressure. This Savannah might be going down soon.
Ooh, Juno looking for some RNG Despair Stuns. Get that Despair Stun on top of Ada. Hathor looking to dump attack bars to put everybody to sleep here. And there you go. You see it here. 2-turn sleeps on everybody, but a resist sleep on top of the Mi Ying. Bomb does detonate, and we have the Savannah getting dropped off the mount. We're going to see an attack break going out on top of that Mi Ying. That attack break is actually very important to have on Mi Ying.
Yeah, and at the same time, this Savannah is very squishy now. Raigeki's picking up his team well. Tree does not have burst at the moment. That's his problem right now.
Yep, beautiful Despair Stun on top of that Juno, but Juno's going to heal up a little bit because of it, trying to pummel in as much damage on top of that Mi Ying as possible. Hoping for another Despair Stun on Savannah, trying to drop that unit, not receiving it yet.
Yeah, and again, this Savannah does need a crit and proc every single time here because Tree does not have defense break. That's not enough damage. No damage, no burst from no defense break. Hathor does not have skill 3 for a long time.
Yep, does not. Goes with that skill 2 sleep onto the Fran. And we're going to see Mi Ying using that second skill. A little bit of sustain for Raigeki's side of the field as well. A little bit of poke damage happening on top of that CR, but Fran gets that additional turn. Looking for an attack break or to reduce the attack bar of Savannah.
Missing that attack break is huge because if Savannah's able to take a turn, it has a chance to come back.
Oof. Trying to get rid of that Savannah. Savannah's looking real low. Here comes the damage on Savannah, and it's not enough.
Not enough damage, and actually does not crit here, does not proc here, so Sierra does take that out. Sierra is tanky enough to survive a couple shots on Martimel, so Raigeki in a really good spot here.
He's in a very good spot, getting those additional turns, trying to get those defense breaks onto Ada. Ada is resisting those defense breaks, but Tree is trying to remove the CR from the field, but Raigeki's got the sustain.
Yeah, at this point here, Raigeki has more damage. He's got a defense break, more heals. Tree doesn't have burst. He doesn't really have much. This game is over. Raigeki's got this one.
I'm not sure I really like the Molly draft in this one. I think he needed something more solid than a Molly pick here. Bomb does try to go out onto the Ada. Ada does resist it.
And I think at the same time, it's that Artemil has not done much this entire match here. Raigeki has so much damage. He's able to take care of this right now. Tree has not been able to take care of anything with no burst here, and it's really showing that that's why Raigeki is going to take this match.
Yep, that's right. So big defense break, finishing off that Molly right there with the Mi Ying. Once again, sustained back onto Ciara. Ciara has these bombs. Raigeki has those defense breaks. He can do away with this Ada. Tree is already thinking about the next match.
Tree should be thinking about the next match and what he should have picked instead, because in this situation, there's nothing he can do. He's taking his time, throwing down that skill 3 delayed promise here, really dragging this out because it's really over. This Juno and this Sierra, it's going to be too much.
That was a lot of damage going on to this Mi Ying, but the Mi Ying still stands tall, gets that defense break onto the Hathor, finishes it off there, and Juno. And that is going to be it. Raigeki taking round 1 away from Tree.
What a game by Raigeki. Very well drafted. I really like how he composed that with the Mi Ying. I don't think we've ever seen a Mi Ying yet. And we saw that. And somehow Tree still took the Artemil into it.
Yeah, he still took the Ada. I mean, knowing that CR, he was going to let the CR through, knowing that he was going to let that Mi Ying through, those are bombs, ignoring the defense. That's defense break on top of Ada, trying to limit that damage. Those are all strong tools that Raigeki had against him.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens in this draft to see what kind of adjustments Tree decides to make. He is down 0-1. And if anyone knows how to come back, it's Tree. He's been to all kinds of world finals, so we'll see what he decides to take out. Decides to pre-ban the Mi Ying.
Pre-bans the Mi Ying, and Raigeki is going to pre-ban this Hathor. I'm sorry, not Hathor. It is a Hathor.
So at the same time here, Tree's decided that he's taken out the Mi Ying. Raigeki's taken out the Hathor, does not want to face the Hathor from Tree side because, you know, Tree does have Ileana. It's going to be able to recycle cooldowns a lot. Raigeki goes with that Sierra Fran.
It's Tree once again coming back to Molly. I don't know how I feel about this Molly with Tree. I think Tree should be drafting much more aggressive. I know he can.
I do not like that Molly pick, especially when a Sierra is already on the board. I do like that Ileana a lot. Tree going with that Terra needs to answer the Molong Oberon, but at the same time, Molong, I think Tree's underestimating this combination because Oberon also does have a Ventilate back onto the Molong and onto Sierra for more bombs or ventilating onto Fran. So it's a lot of auto attack damage. You're going to see some Fran too. So I think Terranese is a little bit weak here. Tree's going to need to do something to disrupt Raigeki's combo.
Yep, I really like Raigeki's draft already. Tree bringing in that Triton, and that might be the unit he's looking for to disrupt the combo.
So if Raigeki were to take out the Terranese and then go with a full sustain comp with maybe an Alucia or something, Tree has no damage. We're going to be in for a long game, and Raigeki has a lot of bursts. I really think that's the weakness in Tree's draft. Right now, he lacks damage. He does have a Gani, that's a Gani Triton, so that's a lot of damage missing.
Yep, and we've seen this combination before, Harmony and Molong. Tree, he's got a match ahead of himself here. Bans are out. Ganymede's going to be banned. CR is going to be banned.
Takes out the Ganymede, makes sense as well. Does not want to face the RNG from procs and a lot of ventilates here. Tree lacking, very light on damage. We'll see if Ricky's going to be able to stabilize.
Yep, we'll see it. I mean, I think Ricky's got the draft here, but we're going into round 2 with Raigeki and Tree. Can we get an upset and Raigeki get the 2-0 on Tree?
Yeah, we know that Tree's going to go straight for this Oberon here. Tree's also going to need to land a lot of those silences from the Triton here, so the key one is to see if he gets it on the Harmonia.
And he gets it on everybody. Silence lands on everyone with the skill 2 of Triton, and Fran looking for an attack break or attack bar pushback on that Ileana.
And that proc is huge because that Fran is able to heal next turn here, and there's nothing that Tree can do about it, so he needs to take out this Oberon right now while that Harmonia is silenced up.
Ghost Force of Living, so that means he's going to be putting a soul protection on himself, defense buffing his team, making sure his team is a little tanky.
And I think it might be a little premature to put that soul protection on himself because now Ricky can just go after a different unit that is not Tyrannese, and there's nothing much that Tree can do about it.
Yep, chose to get that glancing on a Tyrannese, making sure that Wild Blow does not hit hard. We get the cleanse coming up from Molly in an additional turn as well.
Actually, Tree's going to do a lot of damage with this defense buffed Tyrannese here, so we'll see how well built this Oberon is, because that's what Tree's going to be looking for to be able to stabilize and come and win this game here.
Yep, you can tell Tree's trying to really focus down Oberon. That the HP is getting a little low, but we get an additional turn coming out of this Harmonia. Harmonia probably looking to heal up and cleanse that Oberon. Oberon primed and ready.
That is a giant heal, because if there was any doubt about that Oberon being able to survive, that doubt is gone now. This Oberon is also going to be able to nuke a target out, but decides not to do so just yet.
Yeah, it chooses not to use any cooldowns at all, just getting that glancing to make sure the Tyrannese isn't going to be dealing a lot of damage here. Ileana buffing up and gaining that additional turn as well. Can push up that Windruid. Windruid looking at a Wild Blow with a defense buff still and deals massive damage to that Oberon.
Massive damage, but that's all the damage he has right now, and Oberon is not low enough. He's going to throw up skill 3, and we know Oberon's skill 3 is still up, so Raigeki is now going to snipe out a unit, and that's going to be the end of this one.
Yep, you can see Harmonia going for that skill 3, trying to lower that HP as much as possible on top of that Molly. We do have that skill 3 still available on both Molong and the Oberon. We get the Reckless Assault going out on Molly, and Molly's the only form of sustain here.
Yeah, and we see that again. He's trying to get glancing on the Oberon, trying to make sure that he can survive the Oberon, but we're going to see a ton of damage going on to this Molly.
Yep, that is correct. I mean, he has all the skills that he needs. He needs a stun here coming from this Windruid. Can he keep the Oberon back?
I mean, that's a big proc there. Sets him up, gives him another chance to get that stun. Does not get it.
Oh, does not. We're going to see a huge third skill coming out of this Oberon. Is it going to remove the Molly or not? Who is his unit of choice? Chooses to ventilate back onto the Molong.
Raigeki being very patient here, but at the same time, I think maybe not taking into account that Triton does have silence, but did not get silence on Fran, so lucky for him, at the same time, Tree's looking to pump more damage from this Tyrannese onto Oberon.
Yep, that's right. So we have a skill 2 coming out of Ileana. Maybe pushing up that Triton. No, pushing up itself to get those shields and immunity up.
Because he wants to protect Molly and wants to survive again. I think Ricky really should have taken out that Molly. Was afraid of glancing, but I think really should have done it because now he needs to survive. And while Harmonia does have skills up, at the same time, as the game goes on, Oberon's going to take more damage.
Yep, that's right. So he does get the cleanse onto the Oberon. Oberon taking another Wild Blow coming from that Wind Druid. Ileana boosting up the Wind Druid here, and Tree still trying to pummel in what damage that he can.
Yeah, and as time goes on, this is going to hurt. This is going to be a lot of damage onto Oberon. Fran does heal for a lot.
Massive heal from Fran right onto that Oberon. We're going to see some glancing not apply to this Oberon.
And we're going to see a double snipe coming out from Raigeki. That's what he's going for right now. The Oberon onto the Tyrannese, into Molong, onto the Tyrannese, and that's his win condition.
And there it is, 41k onto the Wind Druid. Wind Druid's going to revive back due to the passive and massive healing coming from that Molly.
But if you choose to throw a shield on Tyrannese, I don't know if Molong has enough. I'm not sure if this was the right moment to blow his skills.
Ooh, Triton with the attack bar pushback onto the Molong, but Fran's going to be here to get the attack buffs, healing up his team to full. Is the Reckless Assault going to be enough? Looking for the strip, and hopefully a Violent Proc and not receiving it. Stun on top of Ileana.
Interesting choice there. I would have thought that he could use Molong's Reckless Assault and then reventilate that. Chooses not to do so. So at the same time, Tree knows to just give himself soul protection, and again, we're going to be reset. But that Oberon is a sitting target right now.
It really is. You can see every time this Molly gains a turn, all the HP is going up on his entire team. Getting a nice attack bar pushback on the Ileana. We're going to see a third skill coming up from Harmonia.
And I would like to see this Molong go after Ileana, or even whittle down some health on the Molly and kill the Molly. Something is going to be dropping right now.
And there you have it. He goes right after that Ileana, removing Ileana from the field, looking very good for Raigeki right now.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of damage coming out from Tyrannese. Tyrannese does not have the ability to revive for a while.
No, he does not. Goes for a Wild Blow. Oberon handled it very, very well. Fran fully healing up that Oberon, and Molly gaining some additional turns here, throwing up a nice shield onto Triton.
Wow, and then you're going to see skill 3 coming out from Harmonia, and it's going to do some damage on a Molly, and we're going to see that Molly is the next target of choice.
Ooh, the sweeping waves needed to land on everybody. Did not get the silence on top of Mo Long. Unit of choice is still going to be the Molly. Gets that defense break as well. Fran trying to pummel in damage. Gets rid of that Molly.
Huge damage.
And there you have it, Raigeki with the 2-0 on Tree. Holy cow.
We did not expect to see that. We've seen Raigeki before. We know he's a good player, but that's Tree. He just took out the rank 7 player for both seasons, former legend in World Arena in a 2-0 fashion, very convincing.
What a weight off of Raigeki's shoulders, knowing that he just took down Tree, a 2-0 Tree, Dagon. That was a huge match.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And again, the historic kind of pressure now is being put onto Tree. He's not out for his bid to join everyone else at the America's Cup, but now he's in the losers bracket. No more losses can be taken for him. And congratulations to Raigeki being the first player to book his ticket to the America's Cup. That was insane. And you guys called it that game 2 was going to be a war of attrition. There was a lot of healing. There wasn't a lot of damage. What do you think is going through Tree's mind by picking a draft that was clearly lacking a lot of damage throughout it?
I can't explain that, to be honest. I thought he was maybe trying to survive a lot of the nukes from Raigeki's side. You see the Oberon, you see the Mo Long, so he's thinking he can pick up on that and survive. But at the same time, you recognize that Raigeki has healing of his own and has that Ventilate from the Oberon. There's a lot of versatility and damage there. I really think Tree should have gone with a little bit more damage to be able to combat that because there was not enough threat going on to any of Raigeki's units.
There's a lot of players out there right now playing the Molly and Tyranny's combination. I think Raigeki is well versed with it. I think there might have been some opportunities where Raigeki should have taken those chances to remove units when he could. He didn't, but it worked out in the end. I know Tree is a more aggressive player. He has more units. He has great rune quality, and I was kind of expecting a stronger, more aggressive draft coming out of Tree. And showing Tyranny's Molly, it's like you're just ready for a long fight. And I don't think that should be the game Tree's trying to play.
Yeah, one more shout out in terms of units. Mi Ying coming out, being so impactful in game number 1 that it's banned in pre-ban phase 2 in game 2. That just, to me, I think speaks volumes to the preparation that Raigeki put into the tournament and how uncomfortable it made Tree feel, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at both games, there's a very consistent pattern of Tree just not bringing in enough damage, right? Not enough burst. And Ricky in both drafts, Raigeki had a lot of damage from Ciaras, from Mi Yings, from Oberons, Mo Longs. Just a lot of threat paired with enough healing. Tree with a lot of support, but that's something that you generally will work on the ladder, but not work in a tournament because the runes are much closer together.
Right, and again, congratulations to Raigeki to booking his ticket to the America's Cup. As we move on and see our bracket, his name's right there. Bam. See, I got it right this time. Raigeki moving on forward, but that leaves one more spot for today. It's the final match of the day. It's Heaves against Thompson. We just saw one big upset. Could another one possibly happen? Heaves has it on the cards. Guys, what do you think?
I mean, if you have to ask me, I'll say it once and I'll say it again. I think Thompson's always favored. He is last year's runner-up. You can never discredit that. Last year's world number 2, I think he has the tournament experience, the box, the depth, the runes. I mean, he has everything he needs to put this together.
Yeah, I definitely think so as well. Thompson, super strong player. The one question here is, did Heaves do his homework? Is he prepared for Thompson? Does he know what he's going to be drafting here? We're going to be finding out today.
Right, and we know that matchup specifically went a little bit differently because Fall Panda felt like he didn't do his homework. The Gianna band came in against Heaves, who doesn't use that unit, and so it felt like a little bit more out of Heaves, and it felt like, yes, Heaves won, but maybe it's a little bit more that Fall Panda lost, whereas against Thompson, we saw Thompson get pushed to the brink and require RNG.
I mean, we would definitely say that Heaves had a pretty free walk in the first round. I mean, 2-0 easily. Opponent taking Ragdoll into an already laid down Tian Lang versus Thompson really had to fight his way through it and actually needed a couple of procs in those matches where he won. Was able to get the win because, his rune quality was there. He got the procs. But I still like Thompson in this matchup versus Heaves.
I still like Thompson as well versus Heaves. I think Heaves showed that he prepared himself in his match. And then Thompson, of course, having a very, very tough match up against Faint Memory. But Thompson ended up coming out on top on this one. So I think we have a great match ahead of us. We'll see if he prepared himself enough.
Absolutely. And I think this is going to be so cool here for Heaves because if he did prepare as much as we thought he did, against Panda. I assume that he also thought that he was going to win that first game and probably did the same type of preparation that he's doing against Thompson. And we'll get to find out right now the final match of the day to book their ticket to the America's Cup on the line for Heaves and Thompson. Guys, take it away.
That's right. You heard it, guys. It's the final match today. We've got Thompson. We've got Heaves. Extremely excited. This is going to be wrapping up today. Thompson and Heaves. Mally versus Say Swag again.
Time and time again, you see these two guilds do battle. This is no different here. We'll see where Heaves' head is at with the pre-ban. I think Thompson's going to take out that Tian Lang just because that is a very strong monster that Thompson doesn't have and doesn't want to play against.
Oh, there's the Tian Lang getting pre-banned by Thompson. Nephthys getting pre-banned by Heaves.
Interesting choice to take that Nephthys out, knowing that he's probably going to need to rely on immunity here. And takes out the Nephthys. I would have thought I would see a Gianna pre-ban first because Gianna's generally more oppressive, but doesn't matter here. Either or, these are going to be alternating pre-bans. Thompson is probably going to take a Sierra first, flashing the Banana Nan for fun, but might be as Hathor as well.
He's flashing that Banana Nan, showing that hello to his fellow friends who also have that Banana Nan as well. It's his connection to some of those buddies out there. Hathor getting first pick from Thompson. Heaves flashing some LD Nat 5s to his fellow Isis and Kraka users.
I know, and all of them flashing generally what we call useless LD Nat 5s that are not very strong, not very present in the meta. Friendly flash of LD Nat 5s, just a friendly game here. Thompson lays down some more serious monsters that are more powerful here. Takes that Sierra and the Gianna.
Yep, so there's the Sierra, there's the Gianna. We've seen this combination with Hathor before. Thompson drafts this a bunch. Heaves with his first picks there with the Chiwu into the Gani, and he's going to be responding to Ciara, Gianna, possibly with a Tetra. Maybe Thompson already sees this coming.
Yeah, and at the same time, I actually really do like that Gianna pick here at this spot here because that strip threatens a lot of high speed. Sierra is a speed lead. Heaves going with what we see on the ladder a lot, that Okeanos, that Savannah, and we're going to see Thompson needs to be able to address this right now because that's a lot of threat coming at a high speed.
Yep, here Thompson's going to be wrapping up his draft here. He's got two more picks after seeing an Okeanos and Savannah. Now, we're not seeing a Tetra or any form of, like, sustain or immunity. We might be seeing a ban on maybe Gianna, possibly the CR, but Thompson's going to take advantage of that.
Thompson needs a second speed lead. Kind of goes for a pseudo speed lead here. We know that Light Monkey King is very fast. He's trying to catch Heaves off will on his speed units. So that's Thompson's plan here. We'll see what Heaves decides to do, but I actually think Heaves needs a second speed lead to be able to compete with Thompson if he wants to carry through with the strategy.
Yeah, Thompson's showing a lot of threat right now where Heaves cannot protect him from Hathor, can't protect him through Ciara, can't protect through Gianna, can't protect him through this Light Monkey King. Can Heaves draft this last unit? Going to be Juno? I've seen this before. I don't know if Juno is going to be enough to survive with all that oppressive units that Thompson has.
Yeah, but again, Heaves understands here that he's going to go for a second pick team here. He's likely going to be led through Light Monkey and Fran and Hathor probably. Or takes out the Hathor, but Light Monkey and Fran are through. We're going to see a turn 2 comp, but Thompson has double bomb off the bat.
That's right. So speed lead for Thompson, accuracy lead for Heaves. Here we go, guys. We got our first match between Thompson and Heaves. Mally versus Malicious. Malicious versus Say Swag again. We have our first round. Here we go, guys.
And Heaves does not believe in runes at all. It's going to get punished. This is exactly what Thompson builds for. He's going to get punished. Did not do his homework clearly.
Can't believe Heaves didn't bring any immunity into this comp here. Might have been smart with the Gianna, but that Light Monkey King really took advantage of it here. And Fran's going to be buffing up with immunity and attack buffs for Thompson's side of the field.
And I think Thompson here still needs to decide what he wants to take out. Likely going to go after Savannah here, take this unit out, and then disrupt the Gani Oki combo. But Heaves, no will runes off the bat, does not deserve this win.
And there it is. Bomb does get planted on Savannah. Savannah's in a lot of trouble right now. He could double bomb, or he might place it somewhere else. He puts it right onto that sleeping Ganymede.
And look at these auto attacks doing so much damage. 1,600, 2,300. That's a lot of damage that this Savannah's taken without even being bombed yet.
And there it is. Bomb still sits on top of Savannah. He doesn't even have to play with this unit anymore. It's got no attack bar. It's got nothing.
I mean, he doesn't even need to play the game anymore at this point. It's over. That's how far gone it is right now. Heaves is basically stunned up, bombed up. There's more bombs coming on the way. It's a lot of firepower, and I think Heaves should basically just quit out soon.
And here we go. Thompson poking away at this Juno. Juno not receiving the attack buff, which he needs to sustain a little bit. doesn't get it. Bomb does get planted on the sleeping Okeanos as well. Thompson just really putting Heaves on the back foot. Massive damage coming from that bomb on top of Ganymede. Probably going to see a little bit of poke damage, maybe even a stun onto that Ganymede with the first kill. Goes for all or nothing, hoping for a stun. It gets that stun onto Juno and Ganymede.
He should lay another bomb down. We don't see that bomb land, but at the same time, he's got a detonate button that basically finishes this match. Doesn't even need it at this point.
Yep, chooses not to do it. Goes with the first skill onto Savannah. Juno looking for a despair stun on anybody. Receives that stun onto the Light Monkey King. Gianna cycling a little bit of attack bar, hitting that Ganymede. Ganymede looking really low right now. And Thompson going for the cleanse onto that Light Monkey King.
Yeah, at the same time, this Savannah's gone here. That Ganny Oki lockdown is not going to come. That Ganny did not proc. Looks very, very difficult for Heaves here.
Yep, that is correct. Bomb is going out onto the Ganymede, not looking good. There's no way Juno can solo there, and Thompson is going to be taking round one away from Heaves.
What a Light Monkey. That Light Monkey rushing in front of Heaves' entire lineup. And again, Heaves, I don't know what happened to the Will Runes, if they were not farmed, if they were forgotten on the units, but they weren't there. And that was basically it. Right?
I think Thompson did his homework on that one. He had that Light Monkey prepared. Heaves came in fully unwilled. There's just nothing you could say about it. Thompson had the match from the beginning.
All right, so in this situation here, Thompson does not have the ability to pre-ban the Tian Lang. So we'll see what he decides to pre-ban. We know Heaves is going to pre-ban the Gianna. He absolutely should pre-ban that unit, but we'll see. We also know that Thompson may not want to fight, you know, a Hathor, may not want, there we go, a Hathor. So Hathor and Gianna pre-bans makes a lot of sense here, and knowing that Heaves has first pick, and he's a Savannah Chiwu user, I think Ganny is usually the first pick that comes out of such a lineup.
Yep, that's right. Well, we have Heaves taking the first pick in this round. I mean, how many more units are off Will? Hopefully he has some units on Will this time around. Heaves going with a Fran first pick.
We've seen a lot of Frans over
units.
Ganny first picks, which is quite interesting here. But again, knowing that there's no Gianna from Thompson's side, Fran becomes a lot better. I would be very surprised not to see a Sierra coming out from Thompson at the very least. And I would think it's probably Sierra Ganny responding to this. Sierra being very good as an auto attacker. Barbara being very aggressive, actually. Also a good pick because it's very difficult to punish a Barber.
Yep, that's right. Sierra Barber coming in for Thompson. Heaves is going to have to respond after seeing those two units. We get the Ganny, we get the Vanessa.
We have to threaten speed here because Thompson has laid down his own speed, and Barber's also a high-speed unit, so you can't ever give up the speed battle this early on here. Thompson needs to think about if he wants to continue the speed battle, how should he do it? Is it going to be with the Triton? Is it going to be with a Okeanos, or is he going to go slower? Maybe a Juno here, or maybe something else that's a fun unit.
Yep, well, Thompson's got to respond soon. Vanessa Ganny being drafted. Thompson bringing in two more units. He's got Ada and Daphnis.
Not sure about that Artemel, knowing that Tianlang exists on the board. So Tianlang is almost a force ban. You know that this Artemel will not be banned this match here. So I really am unsure about this Artemel pick. Do like that Tianlang pick, and then that Vigor is also a very standard pick, gives defense break and also heals the team.
And Tianlang Vigor wrapping up Heaves' draft. One more pick is going to say a lot to what Thompson's actually banning.
At this point here, Thompson doesn't really have a lot of heals here and doesn't really have immunity to protect himself from any defense breaks, any other stuns coming up from Tianlang potentially. So goes aggressive here with the Nephthys. So that signals to me a Fran ban, actually.
Extremely aggressive bringing in the Nephthys. I'm curious, once again, does he have the Will Runes? But there you have it. Fran is going to be banned out. Nephthys is going to be banned out again. Speed leads for both teams. I would imagine we would see this Barber taken first turn.
Like Thompson's draft, once that Daphnis takes down Vanessa, this will be in Thompson's hands.
Yep, well, here we go, guys. We've got round two. Heaves. We have Thompson as well. Let's go. And Daphnis taking first turn in front of the Barber. That's a very fast Daphnis. But once again, there's only one unit on Will. Does not get the strip defense break on top of the Vanessa. How much damage are we going to see? Not a ton of damage, but there is just a little bit of sustain on Heaves' side of the field.
That is a giant miss, but at the same time, if he strips, Sierra can land a bomb and then finish the job on this Vanessa.
Well, Tianlang's got a lot of work to put in here, only receiving one stun on top of Ada.
Yeah, and again, this Ganymede does have skill 3, but Sierra has will. So Sierra's going to be able to drop the bomb on Vanessa and make this a 3-4.
Yep, there you have it. Goes for the reset onto the Barbara. Dumps attack bar. Ciara's still going to be up here. Heaves healing up with that second skill coming from Bigger. Bomb does plant on the Vanessa. Does he choose to detonate it off? And he does. It does not finish off the Vanessa. Gets the initial turn. Finishes off the Vanessa now.
What a huge proc. That proc allowed Thompson to finish off that Vanessa. Otherwise, Heaves was going to stabilize. So that's a huge proc. At the same time, there is a defense break on this Ciara.
And a Despair stun coming from that Tian Lang as well. Trying to capitalize on that. Getting additional turns. Trying to pummel this Ciara out of this match. And Tian Lang does it with that second skill.
I actually think Heaves is in a really good spot here. This Artemail is going to feed this Tian Lang over and over, and defense break is going to do a lot of work. Heaves needs to kill this Barbara. First decides to go for the glancing, but needs to take out this Barbara.
Yep, does another defense break. Despair stun coming from Tian Lang onto the Daphnis, and we see that sustain coming out from Heaves with that Vigor skill 2.
Yeah, so Heaves actually playing patiently.
Another Despair defense break from Tian Lang onto Ada this time.
Yeah, and Heaves, with the defense break, so many defense breaks, taking out this Arda. This Arda really hasn't done very much this game at all.
No, Ada may have been the mispick. Like you said, you weren't happy about seeing it before. Finally, a Despair stun coming Thompson's way on top of Tian Lang. Ganymede dumping the attack bars as well.
Yeah, at this point here, Thompson again, we know he likes to take his time, likes to think about the match here, regather himself here. It's going to be 1-1 soon, but you still have one more game.
Yep, Heaves taking full control in this match, totally doing away with Thompson's units right now. Tian Lang getting all these Despair stunts throughout this match, and Heaves is taking round 2 away from Thompson.
What a game there. I really did not like that Artemail pick because it didn't bring much to the table, and you knew Heaves had a Tian Lang in the back pocket. It's not pre-banned, it's out in the table. So
and Tian Lang was extremely impactful throughout that entire match. Plenty of Despair stuns, plenty of defense breaks, super impressive, gaining so much attack power due to Ada.
yeah, and at the same time, Thompson even had that proc early on to auto with that Ciara onto Vanessa. Had he not had that, it would have looked even more one-sided. So I think Thompson just needs to pre-ban the Tian Lang, and a lot of problems will be solved here.
Well, we're going into a match 3 with Thompson and Heaves, and I think we are going to see that pre-ban coming out here.
Yeah, we're going to see a pre-ban Tian Lang Nephthys very much like Game 1. The only question is, what can Heaves do to pivot? Because he lost that Game 1 pretty convincingly.
Yep, well, here we go. Last round's pre-bans. Hathor, Gianna. This round's pre-bans, exactly what we thought. Tian Lang getting pre-banned, and Nephthys getting pre-banned by Heaves.
We know that Thompson has first pick, and in the first game, he did take Hathor. We know in Fate Memories match, he took Ciara. He favors the Hathor here. Notice the difference between the two. So he's going to take the Hathor here. He's likely going to respond with the Ganny Fran.
And there it is. So Hathor for Thompson, Ganny Fran for Heaves. Well caught, well caught.
And Thompson here is likely going to lay Gianna, Ciara Gianna. Gianna's not pre-banned. And when you also have that Fran on the table, Gianna becomes much better.
I think Heaves should honestly be prepared right now. He should have known this is coming. The Hathor, the Gianna, the Ciara, just like that. And we should be seeing some units coming out that do counter this.
And Heaves lays down the Josephine, which means that Hathor is likely going to be led through, or a Gianna at some point, and lays down the Vanessa, so he has a speed lead to be able to still kind of compete with Thompson on speed.
Yeah, bans are definitely coming out on either the Hathor or Ciara. Vigor being drafted by Thompson, and taking that away from Heaves.
And I think a Barber would also be a great pick here. Vigor gives him a lot more sustainability over time and allows him to play to his rune advantage. A Vigor Barber could allow him to checkmate Heaves on draft now.
Ooh, we're going to see a brand new unit. The newly buffed Han coming in, hopefully going to be looking real strong.
I mean, Han is a recently buffed LD Nat 5 that can basically defense break and kill a target on the spot. Heaves responding with that Triana here, but at the same time, there's a lot of multi-hitters on Thompson's side. I think actually a ban on the Vanessa removes defense break and also puts Thompson in a very commanding spot.
It really does. Thompson has a super, super great draft with this Gianna Han combination. It is very powerful. Heaves looking to survive this onslaught of damage and even control coming from Thompson. Heaves not looking super aggressive.
So Heaves with that Triana is telling us that he's going to pre-ban that Gianna, and at the same time, Thompson taking out that Vanessa, and it's just going to pile damage into a soft, squishy unit and burst right through that Triana passive.
What Heaves has is sustain. That's something Thompson does lack. Thompson has a very aggressive draft. We're going into game 3, guys. Thompson and Heaves, Mally versus SSA. Let's go and wrap up this day. Here we go. Hathor taking first turn.
And again, Heaves, these units do have will runes, so Josephine can't be controlled here, but Ganny can. Thompson should not waste it here. Decides to use skill 2. Interesting choice.
Yep, putting the Fran to sleep. Obviously proccing the passive of that Josephine. Josephine getting the provoke onto the Han.
Yeah, but even though Han's provoked, it's still going to do a lot of damage onto this Josephine here. Thompson's thinking about if he wants to defense break this Josephine because Han's going to do a lot of damage.
That's right, does go for that defense break onto the Josephine. Josephine with a nice return, stunned onto the Han, but a lot of damage that Josephine just received.
And I think Thompson's just going to try to auto this Josephine down. It's going to lay a bomb likely on lays a bomb on the Josephine. Interesting.
Very interesting to see that. I think he's going to be skill willing and hopefully not to get stunned back by this Josephine.
I think so too. I really would have liked to see that Vigor use skill 2 earlier and allow Thompson to come back on the next turn because now Heaves has some sort of momentum with that Ganny dumping attack bars with skill 3.
Yep, resets the Hathor, dumps attack bars, gets the additional turn as well. We're going to see the cleanse coming up from Triana onto that Josephine. Josephine not in danger anymore.
Yeah, Heaves is actually stabilizing here. Fran does have its skills. It's going to be able to heal the team. Josephine does do a lot of damage. Thompson has not really done much with his skills, but he does have that Vigor, does have healing on his side.
That is correct. So Thompson's going to continue pummeling into the Fran, I do believe. No, chooses his new target, going after the Ganymede, getting additional turns as well, cycling a little bit of attack bar. And I think we may see a Ventilate. No Ventilate, but a Glancing being applied to Han.
He's saving his Ventilate for the Fran, but that's a very unfortunate proc by Ganymede, getting out of immunity, but doesn't matter. There's a Fran with immunity and then a Ventilate onto the Fran next.
Exactly. So Glancing sitting on top of Han right now. Han needed to have that Glancing because if he doesn't crit, he's not going to be able to cycle back.
Yeah, and again, Han, when there's immunity on the other side, does not do as much because it's not able to defense break.
But it was still able to cycle. It was still able to crit through that Glancing. Damage is getting pummeled into the Fran, trying to remove this Fran from the field. No additional turns coming out of that Hathor CR.
Not enough damage for that. Ganny has taken enough turns and procced enough that does have skill 3 up again. That's a lot of momentum on Heaves' side, and again, Fran almost at full health.
Yep, that's right. More stuns coming from that Josephine onto the Han, trying to keep that damage at bay.
And again, Thompson needs to find a few procs on this Vigor. That Han is in a lot of trouble. He does need healing to keep it up. He's thinking about which target to go for. Does he want to defense break the Triana for luck or go after the Fran?
Yeah, he went right after that Fran. He's trying to do as much damage as possible. I mean, CR still has that bomb coming up here, and there's only one place to put it.
Yeah, Thompson actually looks like he's in a rough spot because at some point this Han's going to go down soon. Sierra's actually not doing enough damage through its auto attacks.
No, it is not. Fran's going to be sustaining up here, bringing that immunity attack buff back. He gets additional turn and may cleanse here, but Triana has skills up anyways.
Yeah, and he's just playing a game of being able to stabilize here, take out a unit, slowly wear down Thompson's team.
Ooh, and there it is. Josephine, the big skill 2, dropping that Han. Looking very good for Heaves right now.
He's looking pretty steady, just needs to take out another unit. However, at the same time, there's a lot of turns that Thompson's going to be able to take. The Sierra needs to whittle down this Fran.
Yep, really does. And there's that first skill coming back onto the Fran, cycling a little bit of attack bar, and the sustain that we talked about with Heaves before. Heaves has that sustain to outlast Thompson. Thompson needs to take advantage of these windows and remove units.
Lots of sustain from Heaves, and Thompson a little unlucky, not getting any procs on Sierra at all. That's a lot of damage that would come from Sierra's auto attacks. There is a skill 3 coming from that Hathor soon.
Yep, there is. Goes for a skill 2. Doesn't sleep the Triana, but does get the strip off. It would have procced the passive of that Josephine.
Yeah, that's a good bit of chip damage going on to the Sierra.
No stun coming from Josephine. More Glancing's probably going to be applied. Chooses to apply the Glancing to that Hathor. We're going to see a third skill, possibly.
Yeah, and if Vigor doesn't proc here, I actually think Thompson is in a lot of trouble because he does not have healing for this Sierra.
Yeah, went for skill 3, does not gain the additional turn, gets an attack break onto the Sierra. Third skill is going to be happening right now, but it's going to get the shields up because of the passive of Josephine.
Yeah, so Josephine's able to take a turn here, but again, the Sierra is in danger.
Well, the Sierra is very much in danger. He's able to get these additional turns, getting that stun on the Sierra. No provoke is happening onto the Vigor. Vigor needs to go for the skill 2. No additional turns once again is happening. Can he get the attack break onto the Josephine to stop this damage?
The attack break would be huge, does not get it.
And Josephine's going to be stunning up the Hathor, looking so good for Heaves right now. Bomb finally lands on Fran. He needs to detonate this, but he's going to be running risk, possibly stunning. I think he needed to detonate it. He needs to start removing units. Josephine stunning things left and right.
Yeah, with that Triana passive up, very tough to detonate. Thompson needs to find a way to let the Sierra tee off, and now is not the time yet. May go for some autos and pop that Triana passive now. He's calculating the math, doing it in his head here, seeing if he can auto this Fran right now.
And he did. He went for it, but it procced the passive of the Triana. Triana looking to sleep or attack bar pushback on that CR. CR in his unit that needs to get dropped. If the skill 2 does happen, I do believe the Josephine's passive is still up.
So good attack break onto that Josephine here, but again, Ganny with skill 3. It's going to be an attack bar dump. We're going to lose a Fran here, but Sierra's going to be going down.
That's right. A lot of damage coming Sierra's way. Sierra does hold on. It's not enough. We're seeing a third skill sitting on top of this Vigor. Who is he going to put it on? He goes right for Josephine, gets the defense break. Can he get the additional turn? And he does!
Huge procs there. Thompson resisted attack bar reset from the Ganymede, so his team
Oh,
was
and he
able to stay alive.
resists the strip provoke coming from Josephine.
Huge turn of events, highly in favor of Thompson there, able to get the heals onto Sierra, pick up his team, and is Sierra's able to survive a little bit more?
Passive's not up on Josephine, goes to that sleep onto the Josephine as well. First kill coming from Vigor. Can Heaves still outlast Thompson, or is it going to be enough?
Well, Thompson needs to keep the Sierra up here. Sierra's hasn't done enough damage. He's just going to be autoing that Sierra down.
Yep, there's Ventilate going back onto Triana, getting that passive up, making sure that stays, having that cleanse, having that... there it is. Josephine dropped the CR and not looking good for Thompson. Thompson just needed a little bit more. I don't know if this is going to be enough. Goes for a shred, does not get the... He does get the defense break at the end. No additional turn coming from Thompson.
But passive is back up on that Triana. It was ventilated. Thompson does not have a multi-hit here, so actually I think this is very much in favor of Heaves at the moment.
This is very much in favor of Heaves right now. Hathor needs to do all that it can. No additional turns. Does a sustain even matter for the Vigor? We do not know just yet. Another oppressive stun coming from this Josephine with the strip provoke back onto the Vigor. It is not going to be enough. Ganny getting the reset onto the Hathor. Hathor has no cooldowns whatsoever. Trying for an attack break onto the Ganymede. It is not going to be enough. There's no sustain to save this Vigor. And that is going to be it. Heaves is going to be taking this round away from Thompson, putting Thompson into the loser bracket.
Wow, we did not expect this. Han was not able to do very much this match. And again, Thompson's taking his time thinking about it, reflecting on the match.
And there you have it. Heaves is taking round 3 away from Thompson.
What a match. I did
What a
not
match
expect
indeed.
that. I did not expect that on game 3. There was a lot of back and forth. Ultimately, I think Thompson was just under control too much, and that Han was not able to do very much, especially with so much immunity on the other side.
I know Josephine can be a great unit in a lot of situations. It was an amazing unit in this situation. It was Dagon. We're done.
Yeah, that was insane, and it looked like halfway through that game 3, we were about to see the RNG god himself, Thompson, make a quick prayer and all of a sudden be able to proc his way right back on into that match, but it wasn't meant to be. And the Canadians are the ones that booked their tickets to the America Cup. Congrats to Raigeki. Congrats to Heaves getting it done. In that specific match there, the Han, that's the one I want to focus on there because we talked about it recently being buffed, and it died right away, did it? It really had minimal impact.
I mean, Han is a unit that does a lot of damage, but with its skill 3 being able to apply defense break and then giving itself attack bar. But if your opponent has immunity up, you're not going to be able to do enough damage. And in that situation, I really would have preferred a different unit that provided a little bit more utility and damage, like maybe a Barbara, something to strip, something with a little bit more RNG, if you will, because Thompson already has enough damage.
Yeah, and if you look back over to game number 1, you had the Tianlang ready for the Artemil, and I was kind of like, is that a draft mistake? Maybe a slight oversight there from Thompson, the world runner-up last year against Heaves, who, again, we said at the very top, one of the top players in North America, earned his way in Season 13. I think he's ranked 17th. Was that possibly a draft mistake and oversight there for Thompson?
I mean, you saw the timer tick down. So a lot of times when the timer ticks down, maybe he ran out of time, maybe he was thinking through a lot of different possibilities. You know, I've done it myself. A lot of us have all done it. And sometimes that timer just goes off and you have to pick something.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes Zada can be that unit. I mean, it can be super oppressive if it works. Every time a unit crits, you have a chance to strip Despair Stun. In that case, I think he just went with an emergency pick, and he just... Ada.
All right, and with that, that concludes Days 1 coverage. Let's take a look at that bracket one more time. Congratulations to Raigeki and Heaves making it on through. When you look at that bracket, you got Tree on the top side, the world's qualifier for the Americas last year. Thompson, the number 2 in the world, according to last year. Neither one of those guys booked their ticket today, but don't worry, they'll have their chance in the Day 3, which means we got Day 2 coming up as we take a look at the Day 2 bracket all over the place. Again, slightly more different matchups here. Maybe not as many of the huge names and maybe the favorites that we thought, but I guess it doesn't matter because we had upsets all over the place. Just quick thoughts. You look at this bracket, who are you most excited about?
I'm looking at that Kembala J-Mac matchup. I mean, both of them are good friends of mine. Both of them have very different play styles, different boxes. I'm curious to see how they come into interaction with each other.
Stoic?
I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna actually go for Trocamu and Zafarius. I think Trocamu is gonna come in here like an underdog. I don't think you guys are prepared what he has in store.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm looking over there at Dreams Joseph and Igor as the only two non-American or Canadian players in the bracket. You know there's a lot of pride there when South America is involved. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for tuning in all today. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow. And if you've stuck with us the whole day, we got a little present for you right here at the bottom. Let's take a peek at it. SWC returns 100,000 mana plus 1 mystical scroll. If you're feeling lucky, you can go and pop that one in there. Thank you so much for tuning in again for myself, the casters, and everyone here for the crew. Thank you so much for tuning in. SWC 2020. We'll see you tomorrow for day 2 of the America's Cup preliminaries.